Hello and good morning, it's Nuthatch, and once again I'm out on the back porch in my bird photography blind. Really excited to be out here. I've gotten out this morning at about 5 minutes after sunrise, and I can hear birds singing all over the place, so once they forget that a man crawled into this box, they'll probably start coming out here. And today I'm going to be using something a little bit different. I'm almost always using my Canon R7. I think once I used my R6 Mark II out here, but today I am going to use my Nikon Z50 with the FTZ adapter and the Nikon F-mount 200 to 500 continuous 5.6 lens. So this should be a nice change of pace. Here is the first keeper shot of the day, and it's a male red-bellied woodpecker, which I was really happy to get a photograph of. I don't think I've gotten a red-bellied woodpecker on the back porch yet, so it was really cool to get this shot. Now, unfortunately, it's a little bit soft. I was focused on the body of the bird because I couldn't get the focus point up high enough without cutting the tail of the bird off, so the eye is just a little bit soft, but not terribly bad, so I went ahead and shared it with you. This camera does not have bird eye detect autofocus. It will detect dogs and cats, but it doesn't do birds. And so with that in mind, I use single point autofocus. As a matter of fact, I made a video about how to get sharp pictures with the Nikon Z50, and I'll put a link to it up in the top of the screen now. But what I'm using is single point autofocus and just trying to get that single point on the bird's eye, where with my Canon cameras, and probably you could do this also with a Nikon Z9, I just get the bird in the frame and compose it like I would like, and the focus point automatically goes to the bird's eye. With this camera and older cameras, you get the focus point on the bird's eye. Now if the bird stays on a perch long enough, you can move that focus point around and work on composition, but most of the time the bird only stays long enough to get a few shots. I've got my single focus point in the center and then one space up, and so I'll get the shot hopefully with the focus point on the bird's eye, and then I'll compose by cropping in post. Here's a couple of house finch photographs. First, this one is a male, and I saw tons of house finches this morning, but I didn't get a whole lot of pictures. This one is a female house finch. And as soon as I put the cameras up today, I looked outside and there was a goldfinch out there, so I missed the goldfinch opportunity today. I haven't given up on Nikon. As a matter of fact, I've made a video about how much I would love for them to make a camera that I call a Z90, which would be a pro-level APS-C camera with the Nikon Z9 autofocus system in it, maybe even a stacked sensor, probably maybe in a Z6 or Z7 sized body, with that battery, not the small battery that the Z50 uses. Here is a white-breasted nuthatch, and I know people get mad at me when I have photographs of the bird and the bird is on something man-made, but I had to share this one. It was the only shot of the white-breasted nuthatch that I got that was acceptable, and I just love that bird. It's the first time I've gotten one on the back porch. Here is a blue jay. I didn't get zoomed out quick enough to not cut its feet off before it flew off, but I was still happy to get a photograph of a blue jay. And this one also could be zoomed out some, this too close shot of a male northern cardinal. I also made a video about how much I'm looking forward to the 200 to 600 lens, which has been on the Nikon roadmap forever, and they still haven't made an announcement about it, but it's supposed to be a non-S lens, so it won't be super expensive, and then that would give you a nice Z-mount birding combination. Here's a photo of a cute female Downy Woodpecker. I love the way she's got her feathers kind of puffed up on the top of her head. Just a beautiful bird, and I saw the male but didn't get a shot of it. And the Nikon Z50 is a perfectly capable video camera. This is 4K 24 frames per second footage of Rodney, I guess he's our pet squirrel, seeing as how we feed him, and he does pretty good. He doesn't get on the suet feeder. There's another squirrel in the neighborhood that does get on the suet feeder, and I also made a still photograph of Rodney up there on the log eating some sunflower seeds, and here's a photograph of a beautiful Carolina wren on that same log that Rodney was on, puffed up. It was a little chilly this morning. Here's a quick tour of the perches. There's the water feature and a little log and this perch And this one, which has gotten to be the main perch, just ever so close to the bird feeder, but you can get shots of birds right here with the bird feeder not in the shot. I've got this little log attached to the porch now. I've moved the suet feeder up, and I've got this perch over here, and I still have this perch, but I didn't get any shots on it today. And of course my background is the Leland cypress that used to have a tree right next to it, but now that it's gone, there's like half of a Leland cypress here because it grew that way. Here is a beautiful brown thrasher. I love those yellow eyes, state bird of Georgia, and this is in the Leland cypress that's behind all of my perches. It did come to the porch, but just straight to the feeder and then it left. Here is the female Downy Woodpecker again. This is not the same set of photos as the last one, but it is on the same perch. She lands on that perch and then goes to the suet feeder and then flies off. I will say this camera's autofocus is definitely causing me to miss shots. You know, when I'm out here with my R7, sometimes a bird will be right in the frame and I'll press focus and it doesn't know what to do. But that's maybe 1 or 2 times out of 10. This is probably 7 or 8 times out of 10. And I'm sure it's cost me some shots this morning, just not knowing where to go. But if you're pre-focused, you know, if you pre-focus on the perch that you think a bird might land on, you don't have that problem. But my problem is I've set up so many perches out here that it makes it difficult to be on the right one. Maybe I should set up less perches when I work with this camera. This is the female red-bellied woodpecker, and the one at the beginning of the video was a male. And she is looking over at the bird feeder, and you can't quite see it because it's out of the frame by about a pixel. This is probably my favorite shot of the entire day. And here's another shot from that same set where she was looking over at the bird feeder. I really love the light on this one, but I think I like the pose better on the previous shot. But these were among my favorites of the day for sure. The zoom on this lens is fantastic. It doesn't creep even when somewhat vertical like I am right now. And the resistance is not too hard. Now I do still prefer the Canon RF 100-500 with its adjustability to where you can have it where it's super easy to zoom if you turn it all the way to smooth and turn it all the way to tight and there's no creep. But this 200-500 Nikon lens works just fine. Here is the last photo of the day. It's a chipping sparrow, which is a tiny bird, and it's far away in the Leland cypress, so I had to use all 500 millimeters and I had to crop a lot. And I noticed the lower resolution of the Z50 when compared to the R7, plus the R7 is a 1.6 crop and this is a 1.5. So hopefully if Nikon makes that Z90 I'm always begging for, it will have a lot of resolution. I had a nice time this morning using the Z50 and the FTZ adapter and the F-mount 200-500 out here in the blind. Hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see some more, subscribe, hit the bell, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.